Welcome back to the VET S.O.S podcast brought to you by the Who You Know Network. Remember, don't drown the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S Lifeline. Mark, we got another great one today. We got Matthew Langseth with us today. Most people will know him probably from Vets to Industry, but he's got his hands in a bunch of things. It's going to be a knowledge-filled episode, going to be so much fun. How you doing today, Mark?
I'm doing great, and yeah, I can't wait. I mean, he's got all these things on his intro here that I'm reading that we'll get to here in just a second. But man, I'm excited to hear from him, and yeah, just get his knowledge bombs that he's going to drop on us. So yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you all for tuning in, and as always, make sure that you're sharing this information and our show with your community.
Yep, absolutely. As always, we're on the Restream platform. So if you want to push this out as original content over your social media, hit us up with hashtag pairing. We'll tell you how to do it. It's super simple. Comes out live on your stuff when we release the episode, and you can share with your network and help spread the news to help more transitioning service members. Without further ado, Matthew is an Army veteran with 21 years in active duty and the National Guard with a passion for assisting veterans, military spouses, and those in the military transition process to connect with free resources, love that free 99, and programs empowering them to transition into the civilian sector or pivot careers successfully. Matthew, how are you doing today? So glad you joined us.
Oh, I am doing fantabulous, Shawn. I appreciate that. You and Mark have a great platform, and super excited that you invited me to be on. So thank you very much for that.
Outstanding. It's been I don't know, probably about a year that you and I have been connected, and through Vets Industry, and I see that you almost have become a lot more active in Vets Industry, but we'll talk about that here in a little bit. First, I want to know, and I want you to share with the audience here, why you decided to do things in the veteran transition space. What made you, aside from having a military career, want to give back to this community?
When I transitioned, my experience was it felt like, even though my organization as a whole that I retired from had retired hundreds of military folks before, it felt like it was the first time. And there was like, hey, here's a checklist. They're like, knock these out, do this. And the more that I read the checklist, the more that I went through the experience, the more I realized that these were check the block items just to process me out of the military, which is fine. That is an absolute requirement. It is not a big deal. But there wasn't a lot going forward on how to help me. So how do I become successful post-military?
Mm-hmm.
So I started to learn. LinkedIn was the most amazing, the most informative place that I found. Everything went back to LinkedIn. So I started to become active on LinkedIn. And the more I learned, the more I was like, why don't people know about these things? How do I help? Because I had service members that were under my charge that were going to get out in about a year after me. I'm like, so, I keep dropping everything that I learned to these folks so that they didn't have to learn on the fly as I did. They could formulate their plan earlier and be as successful as possible. And that is why I got into the military transition space. I want people to be more successful than I was.
I love that mindset. And it's one that I think you see a lot with veterans, especially in military personnel in general, is the want to have other people succeed. And I think some of that comes from our, by nature, volunteering to serve in the military and protect our country. But that's just absolutely fantastic. So as you decided to start doing this, LinkedIn was the first, kind of the major platform you identified there. Why was it so important? I mean, did you really like posting? Were you trying to network, spread a message? What exactly were you building a brand? How were you using LinkedIn?
When I started, I was terrified to post. The Army specifically, the branch that I was in, people were getting in trouble left and right for posting on social media. I was terrified to post. I consumed content. I found people that had posts that resonated with me. I reached out with them. I didn't realize I was networking, but I was networking. I was having informational interviews. I didn't realize I was having informational interviews. I wanted to learn more about certain topics and certain subjects in which people were posting in the content that I was consuming. Going through LinkedIn and reading posts and talking about, how's the best way to connect with folks, so on and so forth. I learned. Then I found VETS the industry, and I attended some networking events, and it all just kind of snowballed. But it started first by consuming content. Then I started reposting content that I thought was valuable. Then as I learned that reposting content doesn't necessarily help spread the reach as much as creating your own content, I reached out to people and said, hey, can I basically make an original post? Can I copy your content, put it on my post, obviously give you credit for it, and then spread it out that way? And then I got to the point where I was okay with starting to create my own content. And it just kind of snowballed from there. So I started off as just consuming, went to sharing, and then eventually started posting my own content.
That's a fantastic story. That is probably the number one thing that you hear is people are scared to post something. And that methodology to work through that way. And I never even thought about asking somebody permission to essentially, take their post, repost it, but as original, not as a repost, to help expand the reach. That's a fantastic approach.
I've got a little to add to that too, because if you do that, and you need to give credit where credit's due, but I think that what you also could incorporate, and this might be a little controversial, is the new tools that are out there. I won't name them, but it ends with GPT. You can take content and repurpose it and still give credit where credit is due, but also maybe be able to then take what's been repurposed and edit it a little bit, make it your own, in your own words, your own personality, and be able to do that. The other thing that I noticed that you said is I just got started. I just got started, on LinkedIn. And that's one thing that I think a lot of people have trouble with is, society says, oh, well, you got to be on Twitter. Oh, well, you got to be on Insta, or you got to be on Facebook, or you got to be on, for the job search, if you are in transition, you got to pick one. And what's the one that makes the most sense? Obviously LinkedIn, So that's where you should be spending the majority of your time. If you want to call it a social platform, which it is, that's where you should be focusing the majority of your efforts. I mean, I'm not saying delete your accounts, other accounts, but you have a mission, and that mission, is to get employed or to level up. And so make sure that you're starting on the platform that really is going to benefit your mission. So, and that's LinkedIn.
And I'll add to that a little bit too. There are amazing groups on those other platforms that you mentioned, and they can help get the word out. To me, those are great ways to propagate your message. But for kind of like specific longer posts that have a little bit more detail into everything else, by far LinkedIn, in my opinion, is the way to go. You're going to get some quick little snippets and snapshots from those other type posts, but a LinkedIn post might be a little bit longer. It might incorporate a few more details that maybe your average IG user just is going to probably scroll through. So the amount of detail, the amount of specificity, and the connections to the people in the arena, specifically for military transition, military spouses, and veterans, is just so great on LinkedIn. And there's my plug. So there you
go. Love it.
We need to get LinkedIn to sponsor us now.
Hashtag sponsorship. Yeah, I'm for it.
That's it.
All right. So I still, because I'm, as I went through the transition, there's all kinds of people who are still scared to get on LinkedIn. It's like, and I sat through, I think it was a 4 block class, and someone was adamantly against LinkedIn. It's like, you may not like it. I'm a career intel person, so I never post. I had hardly any social media footprint because I didn't want to get in trouble, like you talked about earlier. So I'm trying to learn it now as I'm getting out, and you got to accept where we are. So let's move into some of the organizations that you support here. First one, I think most people probably know you from is VET's Industry. You've been volunteering with them for quite a while and have quite a role with them. So please tell us a little bit about what you're doing with VET's Industry.
So my current position is I'm the Director of Marketing, Events, and Business Development at VET Industry. I started in December of 2019 when Brian Arrington, the founder and president of VET Industry, he sent me a DM and was like, "Hey man, do you want to volunteer?" And I was like, absolutely. I was like, the fact that anyone would even ask me is like, just makes me feel like over the moon about the whole situation, right? So I started volunteering, and then the pandemic hit, and I was able to do a little bit more. And then I realized that I started to like video editing, and so I started with some real simple programs, and then I got a little bit more complex, and that was just fun. So I ended up being just like a general volunteer, and then I kind of got funneled into the marketing department, and then I realized I kind of like the marketing aspect of it. And eventually 3.5 years, 3 years and 3 months, something like that later, here I am running a team. I have an amazing team, by the way. They are super awesome. All the volunteers are. In fact, they're doing some volunteer orientation every month, and it's just super amazing to be a part of it and to see their growth. We'll hit 100,000 followers on LinkedIn this year, and it's just super amazing.
I can't even fathom that 100,000 followers.
That's a lot.
That's ridiculous. But what I took away from that, though, is that VET S.O.S needs a video person.
I know a few.
And someone to lead our marketing department that we don't have. So start recruiting. But no, that's fantastic. And I volunteer as much as I can with VET Industry. Love what they're doing. Love the platform. The way I describe them, the biggest, baddest thing out there, really, when it comes to transition. Those
Thank you.
5-hour marathon sessions are daunting when you look at them, but they go by so fast, and there's so much information. And I think the best part about the whole thing is the follow-up email. Like, I had registered for an event and I missed it due to something that came up. And I got like 5 connection requests from people going through that email after the fact saying, "Hey, glad I got to meet you at the event." I'm like, okay, cool. But I mean, that's the power of it, is people are actually going through the video or the email and seeing what they missed. And that's huge.
So that is pretty cool. I really don't know how many organizations do that, but assuming that you RSVP for one of our events, you'll get put on the list. And then the list, what happens is you fill out like your LinkedIn URL and so forth. And in the post follow-up email, we send you everybody's LinkedIn URL so that you can continue to network with everyone that RSVP that didn't necessarily attend. Okay, hey, we're hitting an 85% attendance rate from those who RSVP to those who show up.
Wow.
On average, over the course since we've been doing this, 85%. So most of the people commit. And you're right. It says 5 hours, and it goes by so fast. But you make so many connections. The people that are there to help, the recruiters that are there not only to recruit for positions, but that genuinely want to help you be better, to set up informational interviews, to set up mentoring sessions, to help you with everything that you could possibly think of, and then fill positions.
Yep.
Is just amazing. The resources like VET S.O.S that shows up, the resources, the veteran service organizations that show up. Act Now education. I mean, we can go on forever and ever, but they're there and you get to meet the people. And then they drop their links in the chat. And then they're like, hey, connect with me. And then they actually follow up with you. It's pretty amazing. And then they know people who know people. And then those people know people who know people. And it just keeps going.
Hey, Matt. This is something that we've done in some of the trainings and career transition work that we've done through the Who You Know network. Pods. Do you guys create pods or have you thought about that? And that might be a suggestion is as you get that 5 hour block and you have that cohort coming through, obviously encouraging the connections and all of that, but maybe create a pod, right? Put everybody into a pod, a messaging pod within LinkedIn. And then they would have this space, this community that then they can go in and they can connect. They don't even need to remember the email that they got with the link to that person. They can just go in and connect with people in the pod.
That sounds amazing. I'm going to run that one by my boss.
Yeah, there you go.
You just gave me homework, so thank you very much, Mark.
I was thinking along the lines of, was it ACP has the ACP Connect, I think, on LinkedIn, something like that. Granted, we don't need to keep recreating the wheel either, but, it's definitely ways for people to connect, and definitely love what you guys are doing with VETS industry. That was one of the things that I tell everybody about who's transitioning. I'm glad I learned about it early and not late. Because I've met so many great people through that. And then when we launched the podcast, and when I attend an event, I usually come out of there with 3 or 4 people as potential guests, because there's always new veteran support organizations popping in, even recruiters, so just finding people that we can actually bring on the podcast. You guys have single-handedly been one of the best avenues for us to book guests. It's been absolutely amazing. And your growth is phenomenal. So you just hit 90, right? It was was it a month ago?
Yeah, we're over 91 now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We average about 800 or so every 10 days, pretty much like clockwork. But I do want to go back. So you talked about ACP Connect, right? And like their group. VETS Industry does have a group as well on LinkedIn. And quite frankly, most recruiters will post jobs there. So if you're looking for like a steady stream of potential opportunities, the VETS Industry group is a great one, as well as following the hashtag V2I_jobs on LinkedIn, because recruiters post that in the main body of their post, and then that propagates out as well. So you can go to the hashtag that you follow, click it, and you're going to see again all these opportunities in there for resources as well as employment. And then the VETS Industry website just had an update where candidates can create a profile and upload a resume, and then employers can also post jobs. And so there's all kinds of new stuff on the VETS Industry website as well. So all kinds of amazing things, my friend. Super excited.
What's the name of the group on LinkedIn? Do you have that handy?
It's VETS Industry. The group in groups.
Oh, okay, in groups. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Super original, I know. But it works.
Yep. Hey, as long as it works.
Yep, and I think we're cranking close to 7,000 in that group. So
yeah,
so feel free to come join. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, what I'm learning is I need to pick your brain a little bit more. If you're getting 800 followers every 10 days and I'm getting, 1 every 10 days, not that I'm complaining. I'm glad, we're up close to, or just about to hit 2,000. So very happy.
Congratulations.
It's
awesome.
But need to, as Matthew McConaughey said, you got to pump those numbers up, right? So, so yeah, love what you're doing with VETS Industry, and if you haven't checked out VETS Industry yet, you have to. That is the first one I tell everybody about. Savvy Vets. What do you do with them, and what's that mission look like?
So Savvy Vets, I found Savvy Vets again on LinkedIn. The founder is a woman named Adrienne Phillips. Adrienne Phillips is an Air Force veteran. Savvy Vets, what they do is similar to ACP, American Corporate Partners, in the fact that you will get a 1 hour phone call once a month for 12 months. Everyone on Savvy's team has either worked directly for or with the VA at some point. And what they do is they are not a VSO in the sense that they file your VA claim for you. But what they do is they understand the process. So they'll mentor you and coach you and say, hey, this is about where you should be. Are you asking these questions? Did you know about these additional resources? So as you go through when you're working with your VSO, filing your VA claim and doing all that other stuff, you kind of have a piggyback mentor being, hey, did you ask this question? Hey, did you know about this resource? And so they help walk you through. And it was amazing for me because I was like, what do I do next? I've done this, right? Because I'm going through my checklist and they're like, hey, do this. And it's like a 1 sentence checklist, right? But maybe that 1 sentence has like 15 or 20 sub steps to really complete it. But that's not on the checklist, right? File your VA claim. Well, what does that mean? So Savvy Vets was able to mentor me, help me understand that, hey, you're doing everything you're supposed to do. You're going to do this whole bunch of prep work, and then you're going to have to wait. And then there's these certain gates, right? And then at these gates, you're going to want to make sure that you do these things. And hey, did you know about this resource? Did you know about, what state are you in? Did you know about this benefit? Do you know how to do X, Y, and Z? And so it was a really nice resource to have in my corner to schedule that phone call once a month to make sure that, hey, you're on track. Hey, you're doing everything right. Hey, you said this, but did you know about these 3 things that might be associated with whatever issue or topic that was going on at the time? And so it was just an amazing platform to have there. Their services are free. And I cannot recommend them enough. And Adrian is amazing. Adrian is also looking for volunteers. I'm just saying. So if that's something that you're looking for, there's another opportunity to give back to the community.
Fantastic. And, sounds like a great organization, one, to volunteer, but also to use. Definitely going to have to talk with Adrian. Sounds like someone who needs to come on the show. Tell us a little bit more about that as well.
She was also on one of the VET S.O.S Industry episodes. I don't remember which one, 28th maybe-ish, but you can go back and you can listen to that one. And she dropped 20 minutes of amazing knowledge about your benefits. And
it's huge.
It is. Now listen, you're going to go to the VET S.O.S Industry YouTube channel. You're going to look at it and you're going to see a 3 or 4 hour video. I get it. Fast forward to the part that you want, watch the 20 minutes, and then you don't have to do the rest. But those 20 minutes with Adrian are fabulous, and I would highly recommend that you reach out to her.
Absolutely. I think I missed that event. I'm going to have to definitely go check that out. And I love the fact that you guys post the videos too. That's just amazing. You can go back and catch it. So you also mentioned ACP.
I did.
So what's your tie to ACP? I mean, it sounds like you don't have any personal time.
My wife would tell you that is a true statement, 100%.
So would mine.
So ACP, huge shout out to Leslie Coffey and Eric Brew. Those 2 people convinced me, hey, I was a little late to this party, and it's okay. I did not get my ACP mentor, and I knew about him until a year and a half after I was out. ACP connected me with an amazing individual. And we had conversations. The minimum time is 1 hour a month for 12 months. So it is a 12-month commitment. It is a little bit more of a formalized process. But I ended up talking to my mentor once a week for like an hour and a half. That's awesome. And the amazing connections, the topics, the thought-provoking conversations that allowed me to get outside of my comfort zone, to ask questions, to grow, to be better, to improve myself, to upskill. All these things are because of my ACP mentor. And Leslie Coffey recommended I finally was like, fine, whatever, I'll join. It's like, I'll do it, kind of like reluctantly, right? And when I got into the process, how they matched me with my mentor, how they made sure that that was the person for me. And they're like, hey, if this isn't working, we're going to find you someone that's working because this is what we do and we really, really care. They hit the nail on the head first time go. And if you're not getting an ACP mentor, I would say you're doing yourself a disservice. If you're 1 year out from transitioning or ETSing, that's fine. If you're 2 years out, probably even better. If you're 3 years out, even better than that. It's not just for people who retire. It's for anyone, military spouses as well. Go find yourself a mentor. You don't think you need one. Trust me, you need one. It's worth every bit of your commitment. And if you don't think you have time, trust me, you can carve an hour, 1 month, out of, or 1 hour out of the month. You can do it. And I hope that you do. And there you go. And by the way, they have a drop down of how did you hear about ACP? Click Vets to Industry as your connection resource, because it's the right thing to do. So there you go.
Have to get us added to that list. And oh, by the way, when
yeah,
we had Leslie Coffee on, I think we reeled Mark into being a mentor.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Well,
there you go. She'll do that to you.
I love, all of it, Vets to Industry, ACP, Savvy Vets sounds like a fantastic program as well. I'm not as familiar with it, but, look, you said something, which is you may not feel or think you need a mentor, but you do. And at the very base level of that is accountability, right? I mean, if only that, somebody outside of your spouse, your family, your friends, somebody who is not that close, right, to you, like as a family or friend, that's going to be able to, hold you accountable, light the fire if need be, stick a foot somewhere if need be, like, that accountability is super important. And then not only that, but it's so much more than that, right? As far as mentorship goes. And so you guys, this is something that you absolutely do need. And I that resonated with me, Matthew.
And I'm just going to say too, that find a mentor, and this is what ACP is going to make you do, right? Find a mentor that's not in the military. It's great to have military mentors while you're in, and that's fine because that's where you were. But if you're going to get out, go find the people that are where you want to be, that have done the things that you want to do, that have traveled the path, and that will help lead you to where you want to be.
Oh my goodness!
And ACP will do that. Following people that are in the place that you are leaving has its place, but it will probably not help you get to where you want to go. HR or S1 in the military is completely different than HR or project management or project coordination in the outside world. So go find people that are doing that. Talk to them. See if you really want to do that because it's different. And hey, a PMP means something on the outside. Saying you let it in the military without going through all the processes and the PINBOT guide and profit and loss statements. I spent my $300 million. Oh, it's because you had to. You didn't have a choice because then you won't get funded as much in the next funding cycle. But saving companies money on the outside is a real thing.
Man, we just clip that part of the show. Just drop the bomb.
That's all that's going to air right there. So that amazing quote to end the show. I can't believe we're already at the end. I mean, this went by so fast. Yeah, it flew by, and you hit 3 great organizations. I'm a huge supporter of ACP. I love talking with my mentor, and him and I have already. I mean, he's already told me he wants to keep in touch even after I transition. It's just been a phenomenal experience and something we all should do. Definitely want to thank you for coming on today, Matthew. Just amazing what you're doing. your giver's heart that you're involved in all these things, trying to give back and help the next group. Just absolutely love that so much. Mark, you got any closing comments?
No, I just think, you've encapsulated like so much in this interview, like just a wealth of knowledge. And, I can see, look, why you're in the position that you're in, and you're doing great work, Matt. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure being on. Thank you for even considering me to be on the VET S.O.S podcast. Really appreciate you all. And again, thank you for the opportunity. And you all keep up the amazing work. Please. It's needed.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Mark, do you want to plug your special again?
I do. We're here at episode 51.
51.
51.
1 year next episode.
Next episode, dun, 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 the 1 year anniversary. You do not want to miss. Do not miss, and invite your friends, because we've got some special announcements, and it's just going to be oh man, I can't wait. It's just going to be an awesome show.
And absolutely, thank you once again, Matthew, for coming on. And that last quote you dropped on us is already one of my favorites that I've heard in 51 episodes. So true, and something we all need to follow. We want to thank everybody for tuning in as always. Please share this with your friends that are transitioning and get the word out more so we can help them have a smoother transition. And remember, don't drown the sea of transition, but grab the VET S.O.S Lifeline.